All right, Kylie, thank you. Well, Indiana continues to be recognized as an advanced manufacturing powerhouse, the sector accounting for more than $100 billion of Indiana's economy, employing more than 520,000 Hoosiers. But how prepared are those companies when it comes to integrating advanced technologies into their businesses? Conexus Indiana has released a report which examines that important issue as businesses reopen during the pandemic. Let's dig in now to some of the data with Conexus Vice President of Innovation and Digital Transformation, Mitch Landess. Mitch, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Gary.
All right, let's talk about this, Mitch. As we look at Industry 4.0, those in the manufacturing sector are well aware of this. But what is Industry 4.0? What does it mean?
Yeah, so I'll tell you, well, first I want to at least acknowledge IU Kelley School of Business Center of Excellence, specifically Dr. Mark Froelich, who was an incredible partner on this, so he was instrumental in this piece of work. In terms of what Industry 4.0 is, it really stands for the newest phase of industrial revolution, right? It's an ongoing industrial revolution. Folks say that we're a fourth phase of it, and it involves deploying smart manufacturing technologies, and there's a whole basket of those technologies involved with manufacturing these days.
Yeah, and that includes artificial intelligence, I assume, and IoT. All those types of things are involved.
Computing, advanced sensors, cobots, which are collaborative robots, additive manufacturing, which most people think of as 3D printing, data analytics, machine learning, artificial intelligence. There are probably a dozen of them.
Yeah.
that you can.
Well, Mitch, I know Conexus being proactive in trying to determine the level of integration of Indiana companies. So you do this, this is the first time you've done this report. Expect it may be an annual report. What's your big takeaway? What are some of the big takeaways you found as you looked at Indiana's manufacturing sector?
Well, what we found is that the Indiana companies, they're at various stages of adopting advanced technologies. We find that the larger, more established companies, they're a little bit further ahead of the curve. They're leading the way. These companies, they're more likely to have budgets and strategic plans, roadmaps for how to deploy advanced technology. Some of the sectors that you would think of that are strong in Indiana, automotive and aerospace especially, are ahead of the curve. The smaller to mid-sized companies, they're also adopting smart technologies, but to a lesser extent. They usually do it as need arises. They generally don't have allocated budgets for it or strategic plans towards adoption. But even though they're kind of doing it on more of an ad hoc basis, they're having some success and seeing benefit with it.
Yeah, so budget, not surprisingly, a big hurdle for a number of organizations. You and I were talking off camera before we started. To get to that budget issue, you're looking at some manufacturing readiness grants that are now being doled out by the state to some of these companies to get them ready for that next wave of manufacturing.
That's right. Since budget was the number one obstacle, especially for the small and medium-sized manufacturers that are out there, we didn't want to wait till publishing the study to get to work on this. And so we partnered with the state of Indiana for these manufacturing readiness grants. If you go to conexusindiana.com, it's at the top of every page of our website. But there's an opportunity for manufacturers deploying these technologies to get up to $200,000 in a matching grant situation if they are willing to invest in a project-based opportunity. It's a reimbursement-based grant, so it's industry dollars first, and if it qualifies, they apply. We announce them as an award winner for the grant that can go off and do the project and get reimbursement.
Okay, Mitch, as you look at this, what's the risk of companies and organizations not connecting and not being part of that next wave of manufacturing, especially in a state like Indiana, which is so manufacturing intensive? You know, what's the risk there of Indiana of companies here not keeping up?
Yeah, well, you know, Indiana is the most manufacturing intense state in the nation, and it must lead, right? You already mentioned it's about a third of our GDP, 20% of our jobs. Digital transformation, it's underway, and it's underway globally, and it's kicking into gear quickly. And so, you know, the truth is it's going to take a significant investment in technology in order to advance our competitive position in manufacturing, or frankly, even to hold our position. So the stakes are high. We need to do that. And as I've mentioned, the larger companies are leaning into it. The smaller companies are lagging behind. And there's some amount of concern that some of the smaller companies who tend to be suppliers to tier one OEMs, they might lose their ability to qualify in the supply chain if they don't make investments.
All right, Conexus Indiana out with the Conexus 4.0 report, really focuses on the industry 4.0, that industrial revolution that continues to take place. Mitch Landess with Conexus, thanks for joining us. Very interesting data, and we look forward to following up on the report going forward.
Thank you, Gary.